Yeah, I got it. Let's see that. I don't think I have it, but it's not, I don't know that it's gonna bother me so much anyways, is it? Background and effects.
No, I mean,
No.
I think it's the
Yeah.
candidates are.
Yeah,
Is this now live on YouTube? I think it is.
Yeah. Well, it's to a
No.
private YouTube link that's not
Okay.
being broadcast yet. This link will be the same thing that goes to the on-air
Got it.
feed for
Okay.
the television.
It just
but,
gave us a little notice that we were being live streamed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the
Yes.
reminder P's and Q's just in case.
And we're also admitting Monica. She
Great. Hi, Monica.
I don't quite see. Oh, hey.
Here she is. Hi, Monica.
Monica.
This is. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, that's weird. Under participants. Huh.
Oh, that's great, Maggie.
I'm just gonna let it run for 3 and just make sure it doesn't make a horrible sound.
Okay.
So we need to give Monica, hi Monica. So as people come into the space, there's a few things about this Zoom meeting. Folks will, who are joining us will not be on video or be able to be to talk. They'll be muted and off video, and they'll have to come in through a waiting room. The chat function is turned on only for the co-host, which is Stacy Babb, who's not in her little screen right now, and also Bill, who is managing the back end, the live stream, and the administration of the Zoom for us. If you need anything, you can certainly chat to Stacy. You can also text me. I'm Maggie, by the way. And I'm also going to be your timer for the evening. So I will be timing you. You can see, if you can see my window, you'll want to pin me. So I'm there the whole time. And my timer I have running right now at the top corner of my window. So that will be our timer for those segments for each response and question time, which again is, I believe it's 2 minutes for open response. I had to look at the script again.
No, it's 3. Everything is 3.
Everything is 3 minutes. Perfect.
Yep. Yep, because when we went to Zoom and didn't have to worry about people leaving early, we went to 3 minutes.
The timer does have an audio option, but I've turned that off for this.
Maggie, I'm sorry. Are you in the middle of asking a question?
No, sorry.
Okay. One thing I want to understand is the way the mute function works. If you could please, Jen or Monica, mute yourself and then try to unmute yourself and let me know if you need me to be the gatekeeper for that or if the system just lets you.
Okay, we'll just do like thumbs up, thumbs down.
Well, do you, so if you mute yourself right now, do you need my permission to unmute? That's the question that I have. Good evening, Sam. Thanks for joining. So you're muted, and Jen, I see you probably can't unmute yourself. Okay. All right. I will unmute you and keep an eye on that during the forum.
Hi, Sam. Welcome.
Hi.
Give you a quick overview of how this is going to work. So folks that are been joining us from the community will come in with no video and no audio. The chat function is disabled, and except that you can speak to the co-host, which is Stacy and Bill. If you also need additional, if you need anything that pops up, and you can also text me directly to Maggie, that's who's talking right now. Also, you'll want to pin my window as I'm going to be your timer. The timer will look like this, and then this time I'm going to try it with audio to see what that sounds like. So every segment is 3 minutes for open response time. I'm going to start a test one now. It pops up in the corner of my window. Monica, Jen, and Sam, can you all see that timer going right now?
Yes.
Great. I'm going to let it run and see what it sounds like when it goes off. We can decide if we want that audio or if we want to turn that off. What else am I missing? We're trying to work on the mute situation, right?
Can I please see someone asked to be unmuted? I'm not really getting those alerts.
Do you want me to try it?
Yeah, so please mute yourself, Mary Beth, and then,
So I will say, Stacy, the last time I did it, it wouldn't allow me to do that. It wouldn't allow me to ask to be unmuted. That's why I chatted you.
okay. So I see Mary Beth is trying to.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just keeps saying the host has disabled the unmute button.
Yeah,
You guys hear me
yeah.
now?
It's not allowing me to. Okay, does it work now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, so I think I just have to be on it enough to hear everything, and I can't wait for my husband to get home and help with my kids.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I have another quick question, Maggie. I think it's because you have the create the vote logo up. I'm only seeing whoever is speaking. I'm not seeing the gallery view now.
If you're on an iPad, can you swipe to the left?
Swipe left.
Does
Yeah.
that help?
No.
Or swipe right? I know on my phone, when I'm doing Zoom, I have to swipe in order to see. I don't know how to tell. I don't know how to direct you from an iPad.
I mean, I guess I could go, my desktop doesn't have that. But you're going to get rid of it. If you just like for a minute, get rid of the create the vote logo. Can you do that
Yeah,
for a minute?
I'm not controlling that. That's
Okay, now I can
yeah.
see everybody. Who did that? Stacy?
I didn't do that.
I think
Bill,
Bill
was that?
did that.
Oh, maybe
because
Bill.
was
Okay,
saying- I think
so now I
Bill's-
can see everybody. That was just my concern, was that when that went away, I would hopefully be able to go back to gallery view. It wouldn't take me back to that, so, but it is now. It's fine without it. Yep, thank you, Bill. Hi, Sam.
Again.
Any
So
other
how do
questions,
we-
candidates? Okay,
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
I'm just seeing if the candidates had any questions. Stacy, sorry.
Yes, so I see that you're full screen, Maggie. How do we, did Zoom do that automatically, or how do we get like Mary Beth or one of the candidates to be full screen?
I didn't do anything.
Okay,
I think you have to go, every user has to select gallery.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Or
Okay,
speaker, right?
View. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaker or gallery view. So that's not something I think you can control, Stacy. It has
Okay.
to be the user end.
thank you.
And then
Also-
when Bill puts that image up, everyone's going to convert to gallery, or, what happens when he puts that image up is that you
It
all come in
blocks
the
out.
top line. So I think it just depends on what interface you're using.
I also wondered if we wanted to just tell people at home that they can enable their closed captions if they want, or not deal with that.
No, I would definitely say that if you can work that in the welcome. I'm also going to try turning off my video because I was not prepared to be on video, and just see if the timer still shows up. So let me just play with that. Just a
Okay.
second.
Yeah, I
Otherwise,
think
I'm
if
gonna
they
have to go
just,
quickly put some makeup on.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Monica.
yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
So
I-
Maggie, we set it to show
Yeah, can you
that
put water in this for me?
hide non-video participants, and
About the ice.
Right.
people
So
have to
then I
turn
go.
that
Then
off.
then I go away. Okay. Never mind.
Are you running the timer at all right now? Because I'm not seeing it.
I am. So it doesn't
Okay.
even work. Okay.
Easier than the, I have this.
Great.
It's easier for that, the red one.
Okay.
could-
I'll be back.
Well, you know what, Maggie, you could put a card in front of your camera and the timer will still show up in your window, and then the background will just be, whatever you've got covering your camera lens.
But then I can't see. Oh, that's true. Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying.
Okay.
Thank you.
I
So,
hope everybody
Bill?
had it. Oh, sorry, Stacy, go ahead.
So when we're ready, we'll open everybody in from the waiting room, and Do you want it to be on you, Mary Beth, or do you want it to be on that graphic?
No, I think on the graphic is fine. As soon as, Bill is gonna get rid of it, I'll jump in, I guess, right?
So let me interrupt you for 1 second. I have the graphic off now. I'm just wondering when I turn it on, if you guys got a specific time, like 6:30, or you don't know when when I have to stop sharing the graphic.
So Bill, may I suggest that Mary Beth says something and then you turn it on? So 6:30 is what we're thinking.
Okay, so let me go ahead and turn it on now then,
And
right?
I'm gonna,
Yes.
say, when I say, welcome to create the vote Melrose, you can turn it off. How's that?
Gotcha, sounds good. And
Yeah.
at which point do you want me to disable the waiting room?
I can manage that. I'll take care of that. Thank you.
Okay,
I mean, I'll basically just hit admit all.
okay,
So far, everybody, we have 9 people in the waiting room.
okay, so I'm gonna shut off now. You don't need me, right?
Thank you.
Is the timer showing up in the right configuration for y'all? Because it's backwards for me.
No,
Is
it's
it fine?
correct.
Okay, great. That's all that matters. I'm not even gonna try to figure out why that's happening.
And that worked. That was a Zoom thing you could do. You could do it as part of Zoom.
Yeah, it's a Zoom app and it allowed me to do it.
You have to download it. There was some,
It just was like, hi, I want the
there.
timer. And I don't
Yeah.
remember how I got there. Couldn't even begin to tell you at this point.
Yeah. No, it was, I did see that there were some apps and I was going to try to do it and then worked out for you. You beat me to it.
Do we want orange or white? What are we feeling? My post-it options. Okay, I heard a little tiny chime. Did everyone else hear that? Does that bother anyone?
Nope,
I didn't hear it.
I heard it.
Okay, so it's quiet enough and not too obtrusive, so I'll leave the audio on then.
And then if they don't stop, which I'm sure they all will, fair warning, I may interrupt you. Give you an extra few seconds after you see the 0 and the chime. And then I'll say, thank you very much. How's that?
Great. Thank you.
As opposed to shut the F up. No. I wouldn't say- Sorry. It's a common phrase down at MMTV, so.
Professional phrase.
Yes. Yeah.
Lingo of the industry.
Yeah. So while we have just this moment, I will tell you, speaking of MMTV, that if any of you want to join as your campaigns as organizational members, and if you have any promotional videos or anything like that, we would be happy to run them. It's $100 to join. And we would only be able to run them on our cable television stations, but they would go on the public channel, not the government channel. And we can run them up until like the day before the actual election. So just, we have, the membership forms down there and all that. So just to let you know, we've had some inquiries from other candidates about that. So wanted to let you know that's an option for you.
Thanks, Mary Beth.
Yep.
It's definitely on 39.
It should be. Yeah.
It's not on yet.
Is there anything on?
There's a banner that says what's the city council.
Oh, wait, you know what? It's probably on,
Is basketball, there's a meeting.
it's not the meeting. It's not the station with the meeting. And it's not the station with basketball. So what is it?
It's 39.
It's 39.
It's not on yet.
Okay, well, we haven't started. So there. I have my assistant upstairs monitoring the cable television station because we still have to have cable TV in this house, Haven't cut the cord yet.
Mary Beth, can I ask a quick question? What Are we rotating order for answering?
Yes,
Okay,
yes. We're gonna, the first question is, you're the first answer and then it's alphabetical.
okay,
So, and then the next, so it's the first introduction, actually, not the question, is you, Sam, Monica, and then it'll be Sam, Monica, Jen, and then, so we'll just be rotating it around like that.
perfect.
And
Okay.
I'll actually give you the cue as to who is going to be the first person to answer.
Awesome.
And yeah, okay, so it's, but that's the order, Jen, Sam, Monica, and then Sam, Monica, Jen, so, yeah.
Okay. That'll help with the muting too.
Yes.
So did we determine we're going to mute ourselves or you guys are going to mute us?
So the way we have it set up, I have to unmute you.
Okay,
And unfortunately, there's no way that we found that you can actually like trigger it. So I'm just gonna pay really close attention. I saw my husband's bike roll down the driveway, so we're in good shape. So we're ready when you are, Mary Beth. I can admit everybody into the waiting room. I'll turn my camera and my microphone off. So whenever you give me the go ahead.
Yeah,
I'll admit
Patrick, okay, Patrick just texted me that we are now on TV, that something must be up there, so.
So
The
I
logo
will
says
admit
that.
everybody. Is that? Mary Beth?
Yeah, I'm ready. All set? Good evening and welcome to Create the Vote Melrose, the Mayoral Candidate Arts and Culture Economy Forum. My name is Mary Beth McAteer Margolis. I'm an MCA board member and the community director of Melrose Mass Television. Welcome to those of you online. We are recording this session live streaming and it will be rebroadcast at a future date. Please follow the Melrose Creative Alliance on Facebook. We'll post more information about the rebroadcast there. And our website is the melrosecreativealliance.org. We would like to begin by acknowledging the Indigenous people of all lands that we are on today. While we meet today on a virtual platform, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the lands which we each call home. The Melrose Unitarian Universalist Church, our host, is located on the traditional and ancestral land of the Pawtucket people of Massachusetts, Federation of Tribes. We honor and give thanks to the people of Massachusetts, past and present, and the original stewards of this land on which we gather. Thank you also to the Melrose Unitarian Universalist Church for being our Zoom host today and for offering a space prior to our transition to full remote. The forum is hosted by a nonpartisan and neutral group of volunteers through the Melrose Creative Alliance. We would like to thank all the candidates for joining us today. All candidates have responded to the questions addressed in advance, and you may find all submitted responses from the candidates at the Create the Vote Melrose landing page at melrosecreativealliance.org. The Melrose Creative Alliance will host a nonpartisan forum, which is right now, that is strictly neutral and reflects only the priorities communicated from the community during the 2022 and 2023 Arts and Culture Economy Summits. Melrose Creative Alliance board members directly involved in candidate campaigns recused themselves from any Arts and Culture Economy Forum planning and facilitation. Candidate Sam Hammer, an MCA board member, recused herself from all MCA meetings and programmatic and advocacy activities as of April 8th, 2023, well in advance of confirming and announcing her candidacy. We are now going to provide 3 minutes to each candidate for a response to the opening question, and then we will proceed with 5 more questions. Each candidate will then be provided with another 3 minutes to address each question. Let's get started. So to all the candidates, and starting with Jen Grigoritis for the first answer, please introduce yourself and tell us about your track record in supporting the arts in Melrose or elsewhere. Please cite specific projects, initiatives, or advocacy. You have 3 minutes to respond. Jen?
Thank you, Mary Beth. Good evening, everyone. I am Jen Grigoritis, and I'm running for mayor. I want to first thank the Creative Alliance, the Create the Vote Committee, and MMTV for providing us with this opportunity tonight, and also thank all of our residents who are taking the time to tune in either live or to watch it later. I also want to say hello to my fellow candidates. It's lovely to be with you both again on Zoom, and I hope everyone at home is staying cool in this heat wave. In thinking about tonight's conversation, I want to first lead with a thank you to our creative community for what you do and what you bring to our economy, to our community, and to our individual sense of well-being, and also to acknowledge that the arts can and should be a reflection of who we are, who's missing at the table, and can be a model for how we can do things differently and better within government. I want to frame my engagement with and commitment to arts and culture through 3 distinct lenses: civic, professional, and personal. Within Melrose, I have used my civic and elected roles to advocate for, champion, and support increased funding for arts and cultural activities. This includes my time as grants chair on the Melrose Education Foundation, where I delivered funding for innovative fine and performing arts projects throughout the Melrose Public Schools, from bringing African drumming to our kindergarten music classrooms to video equipment for our visual arts department at Melrose High School. As a city councilor, I have voted in favor of funding requests to renovate Memorial Hall, our historic event space, and to support the city's placemaking and wayfinding initiatives, as well as supporting an increase of funds to the Messina Fund in this year's budget. In my professional work as the Chief of Staff at the Massachusetts Office for Victim Assistance, I have not only seen firsthand how art and art therapy play a vital role in a survivor's healing journey, I have also worked to bring the arts front and center to state government as it relates to supporting victims and survivors of crime. My agency partnered with artists and arts organizations throughout the state to create Violence Transformed, an art exhibition held at the State House with art made by survivors of violence, which runs each year during National Victim Rights Month and is an opportunity to bring artists into the conversation within the halls of government as creators, as victims, and as advocates. As a funder, MOVA has provided stable and recurring financial support to therapeutic, culturally reflective arts programs throughout the state, with a specific focus on working with children and teens. Much closer to home, the Melrose arts community has had a huge impact on my own family. My children have both benefited from the arts programs in our public schools, as well as from outside organizations like Music 101 and Follow Your Art. Both during and after the pandemic, organizations such as these have provided a place of comfort, reflection, and community for my and many other young Melrose artists. I am so grateful for the work of our arts community and for the opportunity to be here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Next, we're going to hear from candidate Sam Hammer.
Great. Thank you. And hi, everyone. I wanted to first thank our Creative Alliance organizers for tonight's event and for all the work that you do for all of us in Melrose. I am so happy to be here at this forum on this topic. I'm grateful for all the work that has been done throughout our community's history to create the Melrose that attracted my family here and that we fell in love with. Your work is the foundation of what I hope to build upon as your next mayor. But as soon as an inclusive and focused advocacy effort started for arts and culture, I had to jump at the opportunity to help build the Creative Alliance and this organization, which I'm very grateful to be a part of and benefit from. I believe in the power and potential of good government. As someone with 20 years of experience working in state and local government, I've seen firsthand the impact of great policy and bold leadership, specifically as it relates to arts and culture in our community. I started as a Boston Public High School teacher, and that's how I know how important arts in education is. I worked in business development in Boston as well, and that's how I know how to help small businesses, the art and culture companies, to thrive, to start, thrive, and survive our economic turns. And tonight I'll talk more about some of the work that I've already done, not only in Boston, but also in Melrose. I believe we need to engage in a community, need to engage the community in its own progress for our shared future. The arts and culture are not just a nice to have or an afterthought. It's who we are. Arts and culture play a vital role in fostering a sense of identity and belonging within a thriving community, helping its members connect with their shared heritage and values. We serve as a part of a powerful means of expression and communication, enabling diverse voices to be heard and understood. And art and cultural activities contribute to the economic vitality of a community by attracting tourists and their dollars, stimulating local businesses, and providing employment opportunities for artists and arts organizations. So my name is Sam Hammer. I would love to be your next mayor of Melrose, to build upon what the community has already started, the one that I fell in love with, to bring stability in our financial and management work, and to allow us to thrive to our full potential. So in case I forget anything, to say anything, head to samformelrose.com/arts for a full arts and culture agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Next, we have Monica Madero Solano. Monica?
Thank you. My name is Monica Madero Solano. I've lived here in Melrose my entire life. I grew up here and I went through the Melrose Public Schools. I value the art and cultural opportunities which have been afforded to me. And I'm running for mayor because I want to see our next generation have these same opportunities and more. As a former student of the Melrose Public Schools, I benefited from learning creative writing, how to read music, and even play the violin, albeit very, very poorly, I might add. I loved participating in drama club and in our high school musicals with Mr. Messina. I danced for years with Kathy's studio at Dance Theater 1, and I'm grateful for the cultural opportunities that I get to experience today as an adult, the Melrose Symphony Orchestra, art shows at the BB, Porch Fest, and so much more. I previously served on the school committee when we built the new middle school with our new state-of-the-art theater. As part of the Finance and Facilities Committee, I worked hard to maximize its use and its rental. And as a member of the City Council for 12 years, I supported renovations to that theater, as well as significant renovations to the BB Estate and Memorial Hall, and funding for the Messina Fund. As adults, I'm much more of a consumer of the arts. I love seeing live music. I'm a frequent attendee and supporter of the Melrose Symphony Orchestra, the Melrose Drama Productions, Melrose Band events, and even some of our local dance recitals. Those bigger productions are great, but I'm also happy to go out and support my friends and neighbors who perform their own music or comedy. I'm a member at MMTV. I need to do more there. I try to support local vendors and artists when possible through Follow Your Art or through craft fairs and art shows, and I'm happy to be sponsoring the Chalk Walk this year. We have a vibrant arts community here in Melrose, and I am committing to helping it grow and to thrive. And if elected mayor, I'm excited to build upon the work that the Creative Alliance and others have done to support our art community, and I can't wait to see what happens next, what we can do together. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. So our first question is in regard to human resources. And Sam, you'll be the first person to answer this tonight. The most cited need coming from both the 2022 and 2023 Arts Summit was a call for a robust human resources on City Hall staff. How will you, as mayor, commit to integrating the arts and culture into the city's ongoing operations and services delivery to the community, i.e. economic and business development, city planning, and capacity for our art sector? Sam, we'd like to hear from you.
Great, thank you. So as I mentioned, as a founding member of the Melrose Creative Alliance, when our team of volunteers began working with Mayor Broder, who's here tonight, on the city's application for a state designated cultural district, we found that Melrose easily met two of the three main application requirements. We have a vast abundance of arts and cultural organizations and businesses, and they are primarily in a reasonably walkable area. At the same time, we also found that this abundance of a creative economy, there had not been a single arts organization or entity whose sole mission was the care and stewardship of our arts sector as a whole. until the Creative Alliance. So I attended both summits, which brought over 90 attendees almost each time. And the single biggest priority that we heard was to emerge from both was the desire for designated arts management within city staff. I applaud the amazing work of our artists and creative organizations and the vibrancy that they bring to our community. And now they in turn have clearly asked for our support. So the first thing I'd like to do is to commit to a permanent director of economic recovery and business development. I support the addition of the Director of Economic Recovery and Business Development Director, Lauren Remick, to the city staff and commend her for her work that she has done to integrate arts and culture into the fabric of our economic development. This is currently a federally funded position. So as mayor, I'd like to incorporate this role as a permanent position in the city's operating budget to ensure that she has adequate access to resources from the Mass Cultural Council, Metropolitan Area Planning Council, Creative Collective, and more. The second thing I'd like to do is commit to supporting a cultural district and the Melrose Creative Alliance as its managing partner. I support a formal partnership with the Creative Alliance to work directly with the city to advocate, promote, and be a steward of our proposed cultural district. They've done the work and proven they are a formidable partner. And together we will work in close collaboration with our nonprofit arts and culture organizations to elevate this great work they are doing, to activate and bring more vibrancy to our business districts and neighborhoods. The third thing I'd like to do is expand access to city-owned spaces and buildings. I want to open up and including underutilized streets and spaces to encourage presentation of creative work and cultural gatherings that draw people together in our districts, including our People's Front Lawn of City Hall. I want to ensure a dedicated grant writing support to support the work of the directors of economic development and community planning and community development. And I promise I will say yes to great ideas. I believe all city departments have elements of creativity in their work, and I believe we live in a community with great ideas and a willingness to execute them. So I will be a mayor who says yes and rolls up her sleeves to figure out how to make these creative ideas a reality. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Monica, your thoughts?
Thank you. Well, incorporating art and culture into the fabric of our city is not something that I see as one person's job alone. To truly integrate the arts and culture into our ongoing operations and service delivery, we need to work with staff at all levels to make this happen. And leadership starts at the mayor's office. My vision would be to work with staff at all levels to find ways to incorporate the arts. Certainly, our Office of Planning and Community Development would play a major role in this area, as would our Director of Recovery and Business Development, especially in seeking grants or applying for a cultural district designation. As mayor, I would expect my office would be actively involved in scheduling, planning, promoting, and executing our larger cultural events in the city and supporting staff and other departments for smaller events. Many other departments support these events, including DPW for setup and cleanup, our police for safety, fire on the ready in case of any medical emergencies, and often our health department to ensure food safety. Our schools are the hub of so much of our cultural and art activity. Our school staff does a wonderful job of supporting young artists and creators. Every time I enter our schools, I'm greeted by walls of artwork, and music is incorporated into every ceremony. Creativity abounds. Memorial Hall, the library, and Beebe Estate all regularly host art and cultural events. Their staffs, from the directors and all the way down to the custodial staff and boards of trustees, are part of the human resources which make arts accessible in our community. We do have the ability to incorporate more art and culture into other aspects of our operations, including some less thought of areas. Art is not just painting and music and dance. Even landscaping and gardening can be art. I'd like to see us beautify more of our public spaces and around our buildings and our parking lots by adding more flowers, and especially native ones, to support our pollinators and make our spaces more inviting to all. Our DPW staff maintains these areas and would assist in that development. Similarly, architecture is art. And as we anticipate building and renovating 4 public safety buildings, I'd like to see us add artistic characteristics into these buildings so that they can be visually appealing for generations to come. Thanks.
Thank you, Monica. Jen.
Thank you. Arts are a key part of our community and our local economy, and that should absolutely be reflected in the city's human resources. We need to make the city's Director of Economic Recovery and Business Development position, which currently serves as the lead liaison to arts organizations and artists, permanent by building it into the city budget. This role is currently funded through ARPA monies, which will expire in December of 2024. As mayor, in my first budget request to the city council, I will ask for this position to be partially funded with taxpayer dollars so that we can responsibly and incrementally add the full cost of this role to the city's budget over 2 budget cycles. I would also like to use some of our remaining unexpended ARPA funds as seed money to hire a full-time grants writer for the city, which would relieve the burden on existing city staff to seek out and apply for funding. This role can also provide technical assistance, build public and private partnerships, and help inform residents, artists, and civic groups on potential funding opportunities while supporting and amplifying the great work already being done in this area by the Melrose Cultural Council, the Creative Alliance, and other organizations. Additionally, arts and culture need to be integrated into every conversation, plan, and project undertaken by the city from the beginning. As mayor, I will prioritize formalized partnerships with our existing artists and arts organizations to ensure their voices are included in everything we do. We also need to pay our artists. We need to provide compensation for work that is done on behalf of the city, whether that's creating art for our parklets or donating their time and expertise to various initiatives. And we also need to acknowledge to the public the ways in which the city supports public events and arts that isn't through direct funding. For example, the DPW and police overtime costs for public events like the summer stroll, the outdoor concert for the 100th anniversary of the symphony at Morelli Field, and our other great fairs and cultural events. These events are vital parts of our shared community, and we need to continue to provide them while also accurately reflecting to the public how they impact the city's budget and how they also impact the livelihood of our arts organizations, businesses, and artists when we don't pay them for the work that they provide to us. As mayor, I look forward to leveraging our greatest resource, our city staff, to support our arts community, as well as investing in positions that can support and amplify the great work being done by these organizations and individuals.
Thank you, Jen. The next question is about DEAI. And first, we'd like to hear from Monica on this. The second most cited priority from the arts symposiums surrounds diversity, equity, access, and inclusion. As mayor, how would you and/or your staff support our local artists and arts organizations while also inviting new and outside creative voices for our resident arts consumers to enjoy and experience? How will you ensure access and inclusivity as part of the fabric of our broad and diverse cultural community? Monica?
Thank you. Well, offering more and enhanced cultural celebrations throughout the city would be a great way to build community and social engagement with our neighbors and attract those from other communities to come to Melrose. For example, I think we could make our Juneteenth celebration much more robust, possibly adding dance, art, and music. We have the potential to enhance our Memorial Day parade to incorporate more arts in floats, music, and dance, while also outreaching into and supporting our veteran community. We could also consider adding some new cultural celebrations. One to consider might be Lunar New Year. Another could be U.S. Native American Day, which is celebrated on the 4th Friday in September each year. And yet another one might be Hispanic Heritage Month. I saw that recently Cambridge is hosting a Bollywood night next week with henna, music, dancing, and food. I think this would be such a fun night to bring to Melrose. To ensure true inclusivity, we need to expand beyond our reach just downtown and into our other neighborhoods and business districts. For example, I'd like to see us bring back our Four Corners Music Festival, which was originally held in 4 different locations throughout the city. Music performances were held at different times of the day and in different parks throughout the city. The different genres of music offered options for all ages, and the various locations offered walkable access to those without vehicles in different neighborhoods. We have the ability to support different and diverse artists and showcase their work in a way that is accessible to many, by displaying and rotating the artwork that is in our public buildings and actually adding more artwork to our public buildings like City Hall. Beyond that, one of the best ways to present new and outside creative voices to our community is to be supporting more talks and presentations at the library and the Milano Center. Thanks.
Thank you, Monica. Next, we'd like to hear from Jen.
Thank you. First, I want to acknowledge that DEAI work needs to be addressed across city government, and it will continue to be a priority for me going forward. This work has been central in my professional role, and I am proud to have led efforts at MOVA for training for all agency staff on implicit bias and to work across the agency to develop and execute a 3-year DEI strategic plan. In Melrose, the arts and culture sector presents an exciting opportunity as a space that has taken the lead on DEI initiatives in this community. And the city should be looking to local grassroots community organizations who are doing the work, such as Follow Your Art and the Opening Doors Project. Both of these groups have spent the past several years building meaningful relationships with the city commissions, organizations, individuals and families, and creatives from diverse backgrounds, collaborating with city commissions, such as their recent event with the Disability Commission, and inviting in artists from outside Melrose to share their work. Within City Hall, we need to look at what our arts organizations are already doing well on DEAI and listen and learn from them. We need to reassess all of our city practices through a DEAI lens, and we need to elevate those voices that have not historically been included at the table, including actively listening to those who have been marginalized and then taking meaningful steps to engage artists who have long felt they haven't been part of the community. We need to think about how we make Melrose a welcoming place for artists of color and marginalized backgrounds, and we need to actively partner with our racial justice organizations, our LGBTQ+ organizations, our Human Rights Commission, and our arts community to respectfully engage and learn. The question I want to lead with in this work is, how do we make our community a place that those who are not currently here want to come? And what is the work we need to do to deliver that outcome? Again, I believe that our key next steps are listening to and learning from those that are already doing the work, elevating the voices that have not been included, and reassessing all of our practices as a city government through a DEAI lens. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Sam, your thoughts?
Great. So people can't engage if they're not invited or don't believe that they belong. By fostering an environment of respect, openness, and equal opportunity and access, I will work to integrate diverse voices and experiences, making access and inclusivity integral into the very core of our arts and culture community. And some of the ways would be to provide opportunities to amplify marginalized voices. The arts are one of the greatest tools we have to elevate voices and stories of our most marginalized communities. And the real work is in providing opportunities for all Melrosians, especially those in marginalized communities, to gather, create, and share cultural experiences. It's about meeting people where they are, and it takes time and intention. As mayor, I will work with the Creative Alliance, the Racial Justice Community Coalition Commission on Disability, and a new equity task force that I would like to create, and others to meet people where they are and learn what kinds of resources are needed to be a welcoming, thriving, creative community. I'm very grateful and applaud some of our arts organizations that have already started doing this very meaningful work, including Follow Your Art Community Studios and the Opening Doors Project. And I absolutely love the collaboration that arose when local artist Steve Aldeas was inspired to paint a series of portraits informed by local historian Jim Bennett. The arts is able to mend and heal and bridge people together. And so in another volunteer group I'm in, Melrose Together, we saw an opportunity to do just that with the development project on Essex Street. We were similarly inspired by Jim's work and engaged him on a demonstration project called Celestial, which is art on Essex. The project gives voice to the story of Charlie Singh's Chinese Laundry, the first minority-owned brick and mortar business in Melrose. temporarily housed in windows of local businesses on Essex. The project is supported by the Cultural Council, Messina Fund for the Arts, and is intended to eventually be installed in the windows of a now vacant original site and along the construction scaffolding when the building goes under construction to mitigate the impact to our downtown. Not only did we employ and pay local Chinese American artist Bo Seng Di Matteo, but also brought in advisors from the Chinese Cultural Connection in Malden, as well as a Chinese arts administrator to inform the work. This project demonstrates that we can honor history and progress through public art that can build bridges between our development community and historical organizations, addressing the city's DEI audit regarding Melrose's AAPI population, addressing multiple community survey demands for more public art, enlivens and draws attention to our downtown businesses, mitigates the impact of our downtown during construction, employs local artists, engages multiple community partners, elevates marginalized voices in Melrose's diverse history, and celebrates the contributions of immigrants to our community. For more, head to melrosetogether.com and look for Art on Essex. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Our next question, our third question, focuses on funding. And we're going to ask Jen to be the first responder on this. Sometimes referred to as a hidden gem, Melrose does not have access to the same levels of art funding as some of our neighboring communities in Essex and Suffolk counties. The average grant size for art projects here in Melrose is $500 to $1,000. As mayor, how will you work to increase access to additional pools of funding for arts and culture in Melrose, specifically for larger projects that can't be funded with our existing pools of funding resources? Jen?
Thank you. Again, arts and culture need to be a part of every conversation from the beginning, including those about funding. We know that so many of our art organizations are operating on shoestring budgets and/or volunteer labor, and support from the government is often tied to budget timelines that don't maximize resources. I believe that for relatively short money, we can do inspiring and creative things, including incorporating funding for public art into larger project budgets right from the beginning. There are ways when we plan intentionally and strategically within our current funding mechanisms to have significant impact without significant additional costs. This is about leveraging relationships across the spectrum of stakeholders and gaining buy-in from them to think expansively about how we sustainably support the arts for all. Again, I want to mention adding a grants writer position so that we can free up city staff time and also help leverage the great work being done by our arts organizations around searching for funding. As mayor, I will also ask the city council to create an arts and culture stabilization account. An account such as this would enable us to have a dedicated funding source that is not limited to a fiscal year and would allow us to deposit money when free cash balances come in flush, as they have for the past few years, so that we can put aside money for larger projects that can cross multiple fiscal years. And I think that would enable us to really expand our support of the arts. I would also want to continue to leverage our relationships at the State House with Rep. Librega-Abedian and Senator Lewis and continue to advocate for earmarks for larger projects. For example, they've recently supported work at Memorial Hall with state dollars, as well as the gazebo, which could be a beautiful outdoor space for performances once we get it fixed up. The expansion of the Messina Fund in this year's budget should allow for some larger projects to be funded and can serve as a pilot for us to see what types of applications we're receiving, if bigger dollar amounts are having the impact that we're looking for, and who we're still missing from being invited to the table to apply for that funding. I also want to build on the great work that is already being done by groups like the Messina Fund, the Cultural Council, and the Cultural Allowance to develop a multi-tiered communication strategy, along with a grant workshop for interested new applicants to attract and support new artists to applying for funding through our various funding sources. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Sam.
Great. So here in Melrose, dedicated arts and culture funding comes primarily from the Melrose Cultural Council, around $18,000 in 2022, and the Melrose Messina Fund for the Arts, around $10,000 in 2022 as well, with some additional support from the Rotary Club, the Melrose Cooperative Bank, Eastern Bank, and the Foundation Trust. Thank you so much. I'm grateful to all of these organizations for making arts and culture a priority. And I would like to, the first thing is to continue the growth of the Messina Fund. The Messina Fund had been level funded for over 10 years. And despite increases into costs of producing creative work. I applaud Mayor Paul Broder for doubling this fund in 2023, and our Director of Economic Recovery and Business Development, Lauren Gremick, the Messina Fund Chair, Maggie Abdow, and the Creative Alliance team advocated for this increase for our arts and cultural organizations. We need to ensure that this funding continues to be included as a permanent item in our city's budget. I want to ensure grant writing support. As mayor, I will ensure that all of our city staff includes grant writing expertise to ensure we are not leaving funding on the table for opportunities that support the capacity building of our arts and culture sector. And secure our cultural district designation. I will ensure that we will secure a cultural district designation that makes Melrose eligible for upwards of $15,000 in additional funding from the Massachusetts Cultural Council. I will continue to support and partner with the Creative Alliance, who last year raised an additional $9,000 from outside sources without tapping into scarce local arts funding. I will apply and commit Melrose staff to be included in the 2024 cohort of the MAPC Public Art Training, which comes with another $15,000 in funding for temporary art projects. And I will work with our Chamber of Commerce and new partners like the Creative Collaborative to create marketing and promotional pieces and secure Massachusetts Office of Travel and Tourism funding aimed at promoting Melrose as a destination. Thank you.
Thank you. Monica, your thoughts?
Thank you. Thank you very much. We have to leverage the resources that we have while also looking actively for funding opportunities which will support our arts and our community. For example, we can work with the Metropolitan Area Planning Council, the MAPC, which recently held a webinar on arts and culture federal funding opportunities, which I attended. Several grant programs, including grants for the art projects, are available $10,000 to $100,000 limit. Challenge America grants for $10,000. Our Town for $25,000 to $150,000. These were all discussed. While these deadlines have passed, we may be able to take advantage of these if they open up another round of funding or if there's similar grants in the future. And actually, MAPC just sent an email out yesterday announcing a grant called Making It Public to train municipalities in how to commission local public art. At the end of the training, there'll be a call for temporary public art with the grant for local artists of $15,000. These are things we can take advantage of. We may have a better chance at qualifying for funding if we work in collaboration with some of our existing art groups, perhaps the Melrose Creative Alliance, the Melrose Cultural Council, the Messina Fund, Follow Your Art, MMTV, or some other local nonprofits. Some grants not only prefer, but require a city to jointly apply with such a group. We may be able to partner with other private companies or public institutions. And we should recognize Melrose Hospital's great work of showcasing and rotating art. This is an example of a very public space. The artwork is not only beautiful for the space and beautifies the space, but it has mental health benefits, helping to put visitors at ease in a place that often brings an awful lot of stress. Additionally, the Massachusetts Cultural Council regularly posts grant opportunities and resources for organizations. Many of these may be suitable for projects in our community. Part of ensuring funding is ensuring that user fees go back to the programs for which they intended. These are the fees that we collect. They could include anything from student activity fees like and program ticket sales at the drama club show. And we need to make sure that these proceeds are used to support the program in which generated them. So if elected mayor, I would implement a thorough review of all of our fees and insist on regular oversight of their use. The arts benefit everyone. We would be remiss if we did not ask the community for donations to support arts in our community, in particular to support access so that we can have arts for all, especially for those who can least afford them. Thank you.
Thank you. And going hand in hand with funding is space, our next question. Another key priority to emerge from both summits was the idea of equitable access to right-sized public spaces for presenting creative work. How will you ensure as mayor that our artists, our art organizations, creative and cultural workers and just Melrosians with great ideas will be able to find and afford space to produce their creative ideas. And we're going to ask Sam to start this off.
For the sake of the vibrancy, economic development, and connectivity of our community, it's critical that we support access to affordable space for our creative and cultural groups, including and especially those not formally incorporated and with limited funding and all volunteer resources. So the first thing I'd like to do is incorporate arts and culture into the work at City Hall, which we've already talked about quite a bit. During the pandemic, having a dedicated outdoor space to gather safely in our parklets for arts and cultural engagement was critical for some organizations to preserve and for cities and towns to continue to thrive as people turned to arts and culture for solace and a sense of community. I want to also maximize revenue in city-owned spaces to keep costs low for Melrose cultural organizations. Our city-owned cultural buildings and spaces are a key part of my 5-part budget stabilization plan. Go to samformelrose.com/budget for that. We have beautiful city-owned buildings in Melrose, and in order to keep rental costs low for Melrose residents and organizations, maximizing revenue from outside events will be instrumental. As mayor, I want to do the work with DPW, building staff, trustees, and friends organizations to build a profitable business plan that serves all of our city-owned buildings to the levels they need for maintenance and improvements, while pushing costs lower for our own community organizations to benefit from our spaces, both indoor and outdoor. I want to partner with building owners to integrate art into to allow for creative, beautiful installations in vacant storefronts in the heart of our downtown. I spoke already about the Melrose Together Art on Essex project that was produced and funded entirely by local artists and community volunteers, and it will mitigate construction impact on our downtown once that begins. We also have a lot of available, interesting, and underutilized space in Melrose, and I will be the mayor who says yes to your creative ideas and to do everything I can to remove barriers and provide what resources we have at our disposal to encourage and activate our public spaces in ways that elevate your missions and your organizations, bring our community together, and encourage dialogue and awareness around our most pressing issues, elevate marginalized voices and stories, and enliven our business districts and neighborhoods to be thriving, vibrant districts again. Thank you.
Monica, would you like to comment on space availabilities?
Yes, thank you. One thing is certain, space is at a premium in Melrose. This includes space for art and culture as well. In thinking about this and the other questions, I asked myself, what is art? You know, my answer was art is painting, drawing, sculpting, crafting, sewing, technical graphic arts, music, symphony, harmonica, drum corps, bagpipes, writing, whistling, instruments, electronic mixing, singing, dancing, comedy, video, photography, jewelry, and furniture making, even cooking and baking, landscape architecture, masonry and stonework, carpentry, woodworking, whittling, carving, mosaics, and more. And with that definition that I know is not even all inclusive, I'd venture to say that we probably have thousands of artists in Melrose. And I then asked, what do they all have in common? And my answer is they're all different and they have different needs. This is another example of how we think creatively to leverage the space that we have to find accessible settings in Melrose. Benefit that we do have is that we have many small parks and green spaces throughout the city. We can use these to showcase completed artwork or for public performances or to host creative or participatory sessions like painting in the park or Tai Chi in the park. As mentioned earlier, we can use our city buildings to rotate art displays in public and accessible settings. And many of our local groups, you know, they struggle to find meeting space. So groups like the Quilters or our Melrose Arts and Crafts group, they would be able to benefit, and they will be able to benefit from new and increased public meeting spaces, which will be in the library after renovation. New public meeting space is also part of the plan for the new police station. So as mayor, I would explore the idea of offering some community education programs, possibly through the recreation department. And these community education programs could include art or woodworking, even creative writing, and they could be accessible for all ages. And we could consider opening up one of the school buildings for classroom rentals to other artist groups on the same night or nights that we have community education classes, possibly at a reduced rate, since the custodial and operational costs could be split among many groups instead of just one on those evenings. Just some ideas to maximize and leverage the space that we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Jen, let's hear your thoughts on this.
Thank you. I want to acknowledge that this is clearly an important issue for our small grassroots volunteer arts organizations here in Melrose. And I look forward as mayor to listening and learning more from our artists and arts organizations about their needs and working in partnership to find solutions. Based on my insight into current city projects and finances, I believe we have both longer-term opportunities to expand our space options for public events and arts, and more immediate options that can balance affordability for our arts and culture community with our need to work within the confines of the city's finances. In the short term, we have hopefully 2 new spaces coming online within our community, our renovated public library and possibly and hopefully 4 renovated/redone public safety buildings. All of these projects have designated new community rooms that would be available for use for various organizations in and outside of Melrose. We need to have liaisons from our arts and culture community engaged right now in those projects, no matter where they are in the process, so that we can think about how we incorporate public art into the final completion of those projects and how we plan for the use of that space to be able to serve the needs of our arts and culture community, and that these needs need to be built into the budgets for those projects. Again, no more free labor from our arts and culture community on behalf of the city. In the medium and longer term, we can be increasing access to outdoor spaces by partnering with the Park Commission and the Superintendent of Parks. The city's open space and recreation plan highlights a need for more space for public gathering and identifies several places, including El Pond, where we could invest in outdoor stages for productions by various arts groups. I would also conduct a space survey so that we have a comprehensive and updated understanding of what space is available in our city, both public and private, so that we can provide that as a resource to organizations inside and outside of Melrose. And I would also conduct a fee study of all public rental costs, review best practices from neighboring communities, and consider a fee structure that supports not just prioritizing Melrose residents, but also bringing in historically marginalized artists from outside our community so that they can access space within Melrose. As we move through developing a master plan for all of our public school buildings, we need to ensure and center equitable access to arts in all of these buildings. We want to make sure that the schools have the facilities to foster artists throughout their tenure in Melrose Public Schools. And by adding more performance spaces throughout our buildings, we would be able to grow and expand programming for students and have more options for public use for rentals. I would also want to look at right sizing our current ordinance regarding public art in vacant buildings. We've had that on the books since, I believe, 2019, and I think that global pandemic delayed the implementation of that. I think this is an opportunity to re-engage with the Chamber of Commerce, our landlords, our arts community, and our city staff to think about how best we do that in a way that meets the needs of artists and our landlords. Thank you.
Thank you. So this mayoral forum was based on arts and cultural economy. So this final question focuses on the arts and economic development. And we're going to first hear from Monica on this.
Thank you.
As mayor, how specifically will arts and culture play a role in your plans to advance the economic development and vitality of our downtown as a destination? And how will this be resourced and funded? The Melrose Creative Alliance volunteer team has been working for over 2 years, as we heard, with the city to advance an application for a state designated arts and cultural district in Melrose. What is your understanding of the benefits of the district designation, and how will you work with us to fund, promote, and program a cultural district in Melrose?
Thank you.
Monica?
Yes. Receiving Receiving cultural district designation would help us to attract more tourists and to support more tourist attention and support for our arts community in Melrose. It may also provide us with access for more grant funding to expand future art and cultural programming in Melrose. Something we could do to support the arts and culture in our community might be to work with local businesses and other institutions to designate nights, like one night a week, or sorry, one night a month probably, that's otherwise a slow night as arts night in Melrose. We could have local businesses participate in showcasing artwork or hosting musicians, comedians, or poets, and the city could do the same. And in good weather, it could be outdoors. We could make better use, I think, of Mary Foley Park or possibly even Mary Livermore Park, both of which are close to downtown and could be used for smaller performances without closing Main Street. On funding, it's vital that we get a better hold of our city finances, especially on the school side. Our current budget is betting on using at least $2.7 million of free cash just to balance out this school year's budget. And if we consume all our free cash on operating expenses, not only is it unsustainable and a dangerous practice to bet that free cash is going to be there and be available, it also takes away our ability to use free cash for other worthwhile city purposes. And for example, we could potentially use free cash to assist in obtaining a cultural district designation. And definitely, although I can see the benefits of obtaining a cultural district designation, I feel strongly that we should incorporate more programming and attention throughout our entire city, not just downtown. And I know there's a possibility that we may be able to include the entire city of Melrose as a cultural district designation, but if it's just specifically downtown, I want to make sure that we don't forget about the other districts. We need to include the smaller business districts in our economic development plans and make an outreach for the whole community to embrace the arts and to revitalize our districts in business and economics in general. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'd like to hear Jen's thoughts on this.
Thank you. First, I want to acknowledge and appreciate the work that has been done over the past 2 years to bring us closer to a designation by the volunteers of the Creative Alliance. This has been a huge amount of uncompensated labor for the greater good of our community, and I want to say thank you for that. I think a cultural district designation should be a priority for Melrose, and the planning for that needs to involve all of our arts organizations and creative businesses, the Chamber of Commerce, city staff, the city council, the Melrose Public Schools and the school committee, and Senator Lewis and Rep. Lippert-Garabedian to ensure that we are putting forward the strongest possible application representative of all of the partners we need to be successful. We also need to think beyond specific geographic boundaries within the city when we work to support our arts and culture economy. I know we have pockets of creativity in all 4 corners of this community, and I think that part of how we continue to address DEAI within our arts community is to ensure that there is access for all artists, regardless of their location within the city. Our events like the annual Melrose Arts Festival, Melrose Open Studios, Follow Your Arts Chalk Walk, Melrose Arts Walk, the Farmers Market, and Porch Fest get people into our community, out and about, and create a local destination for their dollars that our local businesses also benefit from. These investments are a win-win, and we need to continue to see more of them. We also now have created spaces where people can gather, such as Central Terrace with outdoor seating and public art, as well as our parklets with community art in key locations throughout our city that not just attract residents to spend their dollars, but encourage them to linger, reflect, and engage with their community. We also have our wayfinding and placemaking initiative underway, which I think will be a huge boon to Melrose as we try to draw in regional tourists to be accessing our city services and arts community. And I also want to work to make opening any business, especially a creative one, as seamless as possible for Melrose residents. This goes to thinking about our systems and management. And as mayor, I want to streamline city services and create a toolkit for new businesses so that anyone, an artist, a creative, anyone who wants to open a business can easily go on the city website, understand what they'll need to do, how they get there, and what the timeline is for completion so that they can hopefully be up and running in one of our commercial spaces as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Sam, your ideas on this, please.
Thank you. Arts and culture are vital to the economic development of any thriving and vibrant community. We have already seen and found in our community that when we activate spaces and bring events and people together to gather, they stay longer and they spend more money in our local downtown. And also people want to come and be a part of it from outside of Melrose. We have to activate our available spaces and offer people the experiences that inspire them to come to our business districts, all of them, and to stay longer in all of them. So a cultural district, again, the designation is one of the best tools we have in front of us right now. And it benefits Melrose in a number of ways. First, a designation makes Melrose eligible for additional state arts funding upwards of $15,000. We would also become a part of a cohort of 55 cultural districts across the Commonwealth who are provided professional development, networking, and other collaborative opportunities for the benefit of our creative and cultural workers. A cultural district also comes with branded signage that can be incorporated into the city's existing plans for wayfinding to show that visitors have arrived at a creative and culturally welcoming destination. I want to strengthen the partnership and collaboration with the Melrose Creative Alliance. Over the past few years, as Mary Beth just mentioned, the Creative Alliance formed specifically to meet the managing partnership requirements set by this Massachusetts Cultural Council for a state designated district in Melrose, and has already done much of the legwork to get us over the finish line. They have mapped over 180 arts and cultural organizations, places, and pieces, 125 practicing artists, and 100 arts supporting organizations and volunteers in Melrose. The Massachusetts Cultural Council is eager to designate additional districts, and representatives from the state have been impressed with our thorough, thoughtful, and engaging work. The Creative Alliance team are all professionals in their fields, meet state requirements, and have proven to be a formidable and committed partner to the city, and include city staff and throughout and the Chamber of Commerce and others as well. It is time that the mayor's office and the city formalize this partnership in order to complete the application. We're so close to earn that Melrose Cultural District designation efficiently and expediently. Again, I talked about expanding revenue opportunities for our city-owned buildings, especially the Performing Arts Center at the middle school, Memorial Hall, and the BB Estate, to create sound business plans to ensure that we are leveraging these assets to maximize revenue for outside performances that will draw people to Melrose, but also be able to mitigate the cost for our own organizations in this community that deserve to be in our buildings. And I will work with diverse groups of partners to imagine and submit proposals for the Cultural Council festivals, including a participatory model like the Martin Luther King Month of Service. So I want to help other people also support their own mission. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you all for your, did we get everybody there? Yes. Thank you all for your thoughtful answers to these questions, and for your commitment to the arts in Melrose and surrounding areas. It's obvious from your responses that you all have wonderful ideas as to how to bring more arts and creativity and support it in a better way in Melrose. Because we have a little extra time since we've been on Zoom, and we appreciate everyone's flexibility for that this evening, we're going to give each candidate 2 minutes for some closing wrap-up remarks. And we're going to start with Jen on that. Thank you.
Thank you all for this opportunity to share my ideas and vision for how we support, sustain, and grow Melrose's arts and culture sector. I look forward to bringing my executive management skills, knowledge of city finance and governance, demonstrated ability to leverage partnerships at the state level, and direct service background to a partnership with our creative community. I appreciate everyone who has taken the time tonight to attend or watch later online. I want to remind everyone that what comes next for Melrose is up to all of you. Please take what you learned tonight and think about getting involved in a mayoral campaign, and also continue to pay attention and engage in our upcoming school committee and city council elections. While campaigns are about individuals, governance is about collaboration and partnership. So please stay engaged, get informed, and help decide who you want working together on your behalf. And please don't forget to vote by September 19th. Thank you.
Thank you. And Sam, your closing remarks?
Great, thank you. After having the privilege of running for this office and applying for this job very publicly, I've had hundreds of conversations with Melrosians. And the thing that people talk about the most is stability, and bringing stability to our community, not only financially in our city and school budgets to be open, transparent, engaging, but also stability in the way that we operate as a community. The potential we have to build off of the community that you have all have built for us is endless. And that is where the arts and culture and the exciting conversation we had tonight is really giving us the possibility to thrive. We can do both because we have to. We can stabilize our community and our budget and our schools and the affordability in Melrose, and also reach our potential because we have to. I want to be the person that helps us get there. I've seen it done. I've seen the magic of theater, and I want to make sure that our communities and our community organizations that help and serve our community and our children are able to start, thrive, and be integral to the work that we do here. So I thank you so much for all of your time, and I look forward to more conversations. Thank you.
And Monica, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to share my ideas and vision for our community. I want to thank the Melrose Creative Alliance, the Create the Vote Committee, Maggie Moore Abdow and Stacy Babb, and the Unitarian Universalist Church for hosting this forum. Special thanks to Mary Beth McAteer Margolis, my former colleague on the City Council, for moderating, and MMTV for broadcasting, my fellow candidates for participating, and most especially the voters for watching and listening to us with an open mind. Again, we have such a vibrant art community here in Melrose with so many artists who use different mediums for their crafts. I want to see our artists thrive, and I'm committed to working across our entire community to help incorporate the arts of all kinds throughout our community. I'm excited about the opportunity to be elected mayor and to put my experience to work for you as a partner throughout this journey. I ask for your vote September 19th and hopefully again on November 7th. To learn more and to get involved, please visit my website at www.votemonica.com or follow me on Facebook at Monica Madero Solano for Melrose. Thank you very much.
So that concludes our forum, our questions. And we want to thank all the candidates for participating and for, as I said before, being flexible. I think I just saw it's still about 86 degrees out. So I think we're all pretty glad that we just did it this way tonight, and appreciate the audience's flexibility and your ability to log on. As a reminder, you can learn more about each candidate and see their responses to tonight's questions to the Create the Vote Melrose Arts and Culture Economy at the landing page of melrosecreativealliance.org. Additional thank you to the working committee for this event, and to you also, all of you, for joining us this evening. I'd like to remind everyone that this forum is just a step in the long advocacy process towards supporting arts and culture in Melrose. And we need all of you to get out there and vote on September 19th. And if you're not available then, early voting is available on September 8th, which I think is tomorrow, right? Yeah. As well as September 12th. And of course, I'm sure you can vote absentee as well. So we have to keep the momentum going. Those of you today who have joined us, we're once again going to ask you to thank with us the Melrose Unitarian Universalist Church for hosting us on Zoom today. And thank you for supporting the arts and culture in Melrose. And we look forward to continuing this conversation. You can also find a replay of this, a rebroadcast on MMTV's YouTube channel. If you go to mmtv3.org, I'll give ourselves a little plug there. You'll be able to access the forum on that, and we have been recording it live and actually broadcasting it live as well. So thank you again for your participation, for your support, and we look forward to a more exciting and creative season of elections in Melrose. And don't forget to vote. Thank you all, and good night.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Okay, so I think everybody is gone. The two people in the waiting room are probably not at their computers.
Yes, I think so. Bill, thanks so much for everything tonight.
So do you want to shut it
Appreciate
down?
Yep, go ahead, please. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Have a good evening. Thanks again for everything.
You too, good night.
Good night.